Hey guys, I'm Adam Caesar, and this is Project Black T-shirt. Today I'm going to review Nicholas Winding Refn's The Neon Demon. I just went to a preview screening last night. I guess as of taping this, it opens on Friday, and it's getting a fairly wide release in malls across America, which should lead to a really interesting viewing experience for some of you. All right, The Neon Demon, Nicholas Winding Refn, maybe a controversial director, maybe a director some of you love and some of you love to hate. He made Bronson, the Pusher trilogy, Valhalla Rising, Drive, which was kind of a watershed moment for his career because that was a really big hit. But his direct follow up to that film was Only God Forgives, and that was a movie that I feel like started this kind of divisive streak that he's continuing now with The Neon Demon, which we're going to talk about. But Only God Forgives feels interesting because it's almost like a direct response to Drive. It's like almost the anti-Drive, where Drive gives you this very kind of straightforward narrative, a good guy, people to root for, a real great bad guy with Albert Brooks' character. It kind of hits all these, while not exactly being a Hollywood movie, it kind of hits all these Hollywood beats. Only God Forgives feels like someone kind of responding to that and then making a more withholding version of that story where we have Ryan Gosling's characters like believe me, I'm good. This is going to connect to The Neon Demon. I'm just starting an idea. So Ryan Gosling's character is kind of wimpy, kind of terrible to women, kind of like not like cool antihero like he was in Drive. He's kind of just a scumbag who just gets beat up all the time, and is like terrible at his so-called revenge quest. I love that movie. I think it's beautiful. I think it's awesome. I think it is like a daring middle finger to someone's film-going audience. And The Neon Demon, I had no idea what to expect going in. It seemed like, with all the buzz going around it, with everyone talking about it, with everyone sharing the trailers, I didn't watch the trailers because I didn't want to kind of be spoiled. I knew I was going to see this movie. I knew I wanted to see this movie. So it didn't need to be sold. And I'm glad I didn't watch them. If you somehow avoided trailers and you like Nicholas Winding Refn films, go see this movie without watching the trailer, because it does spoil not only a bunch of plot stuff but some of the coolest images. I kind of got the feeling going into Neon Demon that, okay, so this is going to be a response to the response to Only God Forgives, and maybe it'll be a little bit more of a crowd pleaser. This is a slight spoiler, but it is not any more of a crowd pleaser. If anything, it is even more confrontational than Only God Forgives is, because where that movie kind of played art houses and limited releases and got a VOD release, I watched that at home on VOD. This movie I saw with a packed house at a kind of very commercial preview screening where they had a title card up on the screen that was telling you to like tweet about the hashtag The Neon Demon that you just saw it. It feels like this is almost like it feels like this is going to be a kind of like MTV Mean Girls type movie, and it is just as deliberately paced, just as psychedelic and introspective, just as out and out, maybe disdainful of its audience as Only God Forgives is, and that's both a good and a bad thing, because I was talking to people after the screening, and I sometimes sometimes I feel like you're getting shamed for wanting a burger and fries, and even though this movie is in no way, shape, or form a burger and fries, it feels like the general reception to it, even that people were booing at Cannes, the idea that this would elicit such a strong response that it has to be this crazy balls to the wall psychedelic movie, which it is and it isn't. That same withholding that I talked about in Only God Forgives is here. Refn never gives you the film you think you are going to get, even when he kind of plants little seeds. A lot of people were looking at stills and images in this movie and talking about, even I was thinking like, oh, Suspiria, this is going to be Refn Giallo, this is going to be Refn's, De Palma riff. It's not really. It is something very singular. It is something only this director could have made. And I'm talking about it in circles because I do not want to spoil it. But if you like this guy's movies, especially if you liked kind of his more maligned movies, if you were into Only God Forgives, if you're into very kind of confrontational films, kind of the stuff that gets labeled as transgressive, it is not. It's not a horror movie in the sense that there is a ton of blood, a ton of gore, a ton of things happening. Really, really outrageous stuff does happen in the last third of the movie. I started counting after the second one. There were 6 walkouts of our screening, and in one sequence, one little 4-minute sequence, got people to leave the theater. Which brings me to my kind of last point. If you are into this movie, if you're going to see this movie, I don't even take this as a recommendation because I was only like half and half on this movie. If you're going to see it, if you're planning on seeing it, do not rent it. Do not like watch it at home. Go to a theater to see it. Part of the joy of this movie is it's almost an art house audience participation film because it has moments of real quiet and then something either small will happen, a little character reaction will happen, it will elicit a huge response, or something huge will happen and people will go nuts. It's just the way to see this movie. We saw it, and the crowd was great. The sound was cranked up. This is a movie that you don't want to be able to be sitting on your couch and look on your phone and stuff like that. This is not that kind of movie. This is a movie where you, for better or for worse, for 2 hours, you should be kind of tunnel vision and engaged. It stars Elle Fanning. She's great, even though all of the characters are given this overwrought kind of Valley of the Dolls dialogue that is, everything about this movie is confrontational. It's kind of deliberately bad, and you're sitting here wondering how much of this movie is a joke, how much of it is Refn kind of trying to piss you off. And he succeeded in baffling me and pissing me off and making me not exactly sure that I liked the movie, but still thinking about it 24 hours later. One of those kind of moments of is it or isn't it? This movie is co-written with Refn by 2 female screenwriters. Does not, and no point in the movie does it feel like this is a female perspective. At no point in the movie does it feel like this is a woman-driven film, even though there are women front and center in the film. Christina Hendricks shows up for a scene and plays a riff on Joan from Mad Men. There are great female performances in it. And it doesn't feel like any kind of feminist film. It feels downright misogynist at parts, but it also seems fully aware of that misogyny. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff and you're left a little cold by this movie, my book recommendation is a nice kind of solve for that. It's called Dare Me by Megan Abbott. And like Neon Demon isn't really a horror movie, this isn't a horror novel. It is a mystery crime novel, noir. But noir is a kissing cousin to the horror genre. So if you like horror stuff, this is a murder mystery. There is a murder in the center of it, but it is a cheerleader noir. It's high school girls, kind of keeping in that Mean Girls theme of the Neon Demon. Fantastic book. Cannot recommend it enough. I like all of her novels that I've read, but Dare Me is far and away my favorite. If you were left a little bit disgusted and cold by Neon Demon, which is what I think the movie wants, check out Dare Me by Megan Abbott. One more book recommendation for you, but this one I have to give a caveat that I'm in it. If you're looking for, if Neon Demon doesn't sound hard enough for you and Dare Me doesn't sound hard enough for you, the year's best Hardcore Horror Volume 1 is going to be plenty hard enough for you. David James Keaton, Tony Knighton, Monica J. O'Rourke, myself, Adam Howe. There are a ton of indie writers or underground horror writers in this book. It's beautiful. It's from Comet Press. I'll put a link down in the description for all this stuff like I normally do. Okay, if you like this video, click like. If you were confused by this video, tell me why you were confused. If you've seen The Neon Demon, or if you've seen any of Refn's films and want to kind of talk through them and complain about them, write a comment. This has been Project Black T-Shirt. Every week I review a movie and give you a book, or I review a book and give you a movie. If you'd like to see any more of this stuff, hit subscribe.